What's up, squirrel enthusiasts? Today we're going to talk about a very difficult topic that's actually really simple. It's just difficult to talk about. I don't know if you've noticed this or not, but most Americans are dumb, like uneducated levels of dumb, and it's getting worse as we go further into the future. So I would like to talk a little bit about education. Specifically, I would like to talk about solutions to the problems of our education system. And I'm going to look at that through the lens of what is considered the 7 points of a classical education, known as the Trivium and the Quadrivium. Now, there's no point calling it those terms because if you look them up on the internet, you're going to run into band names and corporations, so you'll have to use AI to search through the clogged toilet that is the original search engines in order to find any kind of information about it at all. So I'm just going to call it the 7 points of a classical education. The first 3 points are reason, writing, and rhetoric. Now, reason, for the sake of my discussion about it anyway, I'm going to label it as induction, deduction, and the scientific method. I'm going to give you some really simple versions of these. Induction, simply, is noticing patterns in order to predict that the pattern will continue. For instance, you might have noticed that for every day of your life, the sun has come up in the morning. Therefore, you can predict pretty accurately that the sun is going to come up tomorrow morning too. That is basic induction. Deduction works like this. Imagine you're sitting inside of a cardboard box. You can see the inside of the cardboard box. You can deduce that the outside of the cardboard box exists. Pretty simple, huh? Here's another way of looking at that one. So you see an elephant, and you can see the front half of the elephant because the rest of the elephant is covered by a big curtain, but the elephant is alive. So you can deduce that the back half of the elephant must be there because it takes both halves of an elephant to have a living elephant. That is also deduction. Now, when you hear the term scientific method, most people's brains shut off, or they get angry, or they grab their Bible and start swinging it at invisible demons, and that is not how that works. Science, very simply, is coming up with an opinion about reality, no matter how smart or dumb it sounds, and asking yourself 2 very real questions, both of which must be answerable in order for it to be a valid scientific opinion, also known as a hypothesis. So, the first question is, what must I see to know that my opinion is true? The second question is, what must I see to know that my opinion is false? Both of these questions have to have an answer that you can look for, or it is not a valid hypothesis. Now, there's a whole movement in science to get rid of that second question. And if that movement wins, then science dies and we all fall back into barbarism. The requirement of both of those questions is called empiricism, and it is the only valid science, and I do not care what the theoretical physicists say, empiricism is the only valid science. Here is the scientific method in a single 7-word question. I am making this as simple as I can. Here is that question. How can I know if I'm wrong? Write down everything you believe about anything at all and ask yourself that question. And if the answer you get is, I can't know if I'm wrong, then what you believe is irrelevant and you need to stop believing that thing. Sounds harsh for a Bible banger, doesn't it? But it is, because that's called intellectual honesty. It matters. So, that is reason. The second part of the 7 points of a classical education is writing. I gotta calm down a little bit on this one. I'm already angry. Humans have lost the ability to write things. AI can do it, reasonably, sometimes, but we can't tell if it's accurate or not, can we? There is this thing called a 5-paragraph essay that is basically lost technology created long ago by the ancients, and that no one alive knows it except in legend and fantasy and myth. And I'm going to teach you how to do it, just to impress your college-level teachers who have long since taken up alcoholism rather than expecting it from their students. So whenever you're going to write something down about a topic, here is a very, very, very basic, you should have learned this by the time you were 10 years old, version of it. It involves 5 paragraphs. Paragraph 1 is called the thesis. That is the topic plus your opinion about that topic. For instance, I think hunting squirrels is dumb. The topic is hunting squirrels. My opinion is I think it's dumb. The next 3 paragraphs are reasons that I have that opinion. For instance, reason 1, there's not much food on a squirrel, like you don't really feed yourself very well by eating them. Reason 2, ammunition is expensive, and you could use the same caliber ammunition to shoot something with a lot more food on it, like the tire of an ice cream truck. Reason 3, squirrels are cute. When you take out the cute things in the world, you up the ugly quotient of the world by default. And then you come to the fifth paragraph, which is your opinion plus the reasons. And that is called the conclusion. So I would say, in closing, shooting squirrels is dumb because there's not much food on them, the ammo is expensive and you could shoot something bigger, and you're making the world an uglier place when you shoot cute things. Now comes the third one, which most people think they can do, but they can't. And that one is called rhetoric. Rhetoric is the art of getting someone to believe something when they don't want to. Now, there are two reasons to do this: to lie to people, to make them believe things that aren't true, and to convince idiots of something that is. Rhetoric comes in four parts. They all have fancy Greek names. The first part is logos, which is the message that you're trying to get through their thick skulls. The second part is ethos, which is your credibility as someone who is saying these things to them. The third part is pathos, which is the emotion that you want them to feel while you are convincing them. And the fourth part is kairos, meaning the timing that is optimum for you convincing them of these things. So for something that's actually true, you should just be able to use reason, like from the previous one, to convince them, the logos. You shouldn't need the other parts. But we're talking about human beings here, so they're going to immediately be resistant to anything that's true. It doesn't matter if it's truth or lies you're trying to convince people of. They're going to reject it outright, no matter what, at the get-go. So you need those other three parts. Basically, ethos is like your credibility. Like if you've got a degree in something, at least in the 20th century, that would have added to your ethos. But now in the 21st century, it just depends on how many followers you have, or if you just tell people what they want to hear and they come to believe you just because you're the one who said it. The third one, pathos, emotions, that is the kind of emotion you want them to feel. That could be like fear if you're the media, or outrage if you're the media, or lust for violence if you're the left-wing media. And timing is dependent on when you catch them. For instance, if you're talking to someone who just got thrown in jail, you might have an easier go at convincing them that they are not very good at managing their own lives. And that's basically the parts of rhetoric. And that concludes the first 3 points of the 7 points of a classical education. Which brings us to the last 4 points, which are going to be a little less nuanced, because I'm not going into the details of all of these. These are all based on math. Do not turn the video off now. Give me a break. Stop it. Point 4 of the classical education is just basic general math. You know, multiplication, division, addition, subtraction, done in the correct order of operations. You know the one. You don't really. I know you don't. The second part is geometry, which is math applied to space. We all live in space. Once you take the math out of your head and you start using it in space, you have geometry. The third part is music. That's right, music is important. Because music is consonant and dissonant harmonies. It's pitch, it's tone. It's laid out as notes into melodies and songs. It's mathematics applied to time, because music is all about timing. And then you have the fourth part, which is astronomy. That's right, actual astronomy. You know, stars and planets and all that. Because that is math applied to space and time. And when you take all of the concepts of geometry and apply it to the universe, and then you take all of the concepts of music, which is based on sound, and apply them to light, then you have astronomy, the study of the universe itself. And because God created the universe, then you're studying God's creation. Now this is really simplified, and I could go on and on about other things that you could learn. Like, if you just learned the laws of motion, it would change your life. If you just learned the laws of thermodynamics, it would change your life. You know, general and special relativity might not change your life, but learning things like Bayesian statistics, the ability to calculate the probabilities of something that can and can't happen, that would absolutely change your life. You can make your life so much better by just having a basic foundational education like this. And it is very obvious that humans have lost that, to the point where we're about to completely vaporize ourselves into just a stupid cloud that blows away on a really stupid wind. And on that happy note, I'm going to close today with Psalm 19. The heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament shows his handiwork. Day unto day utters speech, and night unto night reveals knowledge. There is no speech nor language where their voice is not heard. Their line has gone out through all the earth, and their words to the end of the world. In them he has set a tabernacle for the sun, which is like a bridegroom coming out of his chamber, and rejoices like a strong man to run its race. Its rising is from one end of heaven, and its circuit to the other end, and there is nothing hidden from its heat. The law of the Lord is perfect, converting the soul. The testimony of the Lord is sure, making wise the simple. The statutes of the Lord are right, rejoicing the heart. The commandment of the Lord is pure, enlightening the eyes. The fear of the Lord is clean, enduring forever. The judgments of the Lord are true and righteous altogether. More to be desired are they than gold, yea, than much fine gold. Sweeter also than honey and the honeycomb. Moreover, by them your servant is warned, and in keeping them there is great reward. Who can understand his errors? Cleanse me from secret faults. Keep back your servant also from presumptuous sins. Let them not have dominion over me. Then I shall be blameless, and I shall be innocent of great transgression. Let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in your sight, O Lord, my strength and my Redeemer. God bless Christendom. God bless the United States. God bless the United Kingdom. God bless Israel. And God bless you.